Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Urth's Fount, where we battled the deadly Odin. I've heard a few mixed reviews about the difficulty of this fight, but after having done it myself, I can safely say that the difficulty of this fight lies only in how to pronounce his abilities. Just kidding! This can be a very tough fight for everyone involved, especially if you're not optimizing absolutely everything. My name is Mistech, and I'm about to pronounce everything incorrectly. The first thing to note is that your group's raid damage needs to be as high as possible. Similar to the Fount encounter, Odin will cast Shin Zantetsuken at 15% or after about 7 minutes in. This will wipe your raid if he is not destroyed before the animation goes off. This guide will assume that you are solo tanking for the sole purpose of increasing your overall raid damage. Since there are a few mechanics that can incapacitate players, everyone needs to remain vigilant. Proper dodging is key to winning this fight. And remember, dead players do no damage. Throughout the fight, Odin will cast Hall of Sorrow, a raid-wide AoE that can easily be healed through. The first ability you'll see is Valknut. This is a point-blank AoE that hits for high damage and should be avoided by melee and tanks alike. Next, 3 players will be targeted by Hall of Stone. These are large, avoidable AoE circles that should be dodged by all players. Later on in the fight, these can be cast in succession, similar to the blue meteors on Mog Extreme. Move as soon as the telegraph comes up, and be careful not to box yourself in. Should a player get hit by this, they will suffer a nice chunk of damage and will be petrified for 8 seconds. This cannot be dispelled. Since DPS is so important, having a damage dealer get petrified can be devastating. Hall of Lead will target and damage 3 random players and apply a slow on them. This ability can and should be cleansed as soon as possible. Odin has a death sentence-like ability called Sangetal. After its 3-second cast, this ability will hit the primary target for about 8,000 unmitigated. I would recommend assigning a virus and cooldown rotation to mitigate as much damage as possible. Don't forget Stone Skins and Adlos. Einherjar is a raid-wide AoE that does a nice chunk of damage and inflicts a 30-second bleed on everyone. This is one of those fights where the healers really need to trust each other. I would recommend assigning specific duties during this time as well. Suckers and Med 2 will be enough to counter the damage of the bleed, but it can also be dispelled if necessary. Get everyone back up and watch out for that tank wrench. Throughout the encounter, you'll see swords spawn on the outer ring. These will charge through the arena, doing damage and knocking back anyone they hit. This can happen in 2 patterns, either from side to side and side to side again, or from the cardinal points to the intercardinal points. Initially, you'll only see the first half of these patterns, but as the fight progresses, they'll be cast back to back. The telegraphs are pretty obvious and give you a fair amount of time to get out. These often occur while Valknut is casting, so melee and tanks need to be extra careful. Keep your eyes open. Eventually, 3 players will be marked by these purple AoE puddle-looking things. These will follow the player and drop down 3 Gungnir's on top of them, inflicting damage on anyone in the puddle. We have these 3 targets move apart so that they're not overlapping. Anytime the Gungnir's are alive, they will inflict the raid with a passive bleed. As such, everyone needs to switch and destroy these as soon as possible. During this time, healers need to heal through Hall of Sorrow as well, and everyone needs to be super careful not to get hit by any AoEs. This part of the fight is already hard enough on the healers as it is, so don't make them hate you. These mechanics will repeat until Odin hits 15% or you hit the enrage timer. Odin will run to the center and begin to cast Shin Zantetsuken. At this point, no other damage will go out, so tanks and healers should switch to DPS mode and burn. Use pots, cooldowns, limit breaks, whatever you need to get him down. The cast is about 30 seconds and you may have a few extra seconds to kill him during the animation. And there you have it, Odin down. This fight is really about avoiding mechanics and pumping out as much raid damage as possible. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.